Welcome to today's edition of Mansplaining, where a man tells certain radicalized feminists things they should already know and understand. Today I want to talk about MRAs and some of the issues at which they want to discuss, and the relationship of feminists with MRAs. Now, let's start by talking a little bit about patriarchy. First of all, I reject the term out of hand because it implies that there is a cabal of men who run everything, who are intentionally keeping women out. And it's not true. That's not the way that it works anymore. Yes, there are still men who think women are less than men and should be kept out of things. They do exist. There are women who think men are less than women, who think men should be kept out of things. Okay, they exist on both sides. They're rare on both sides. But let's look at the issues that MRAs really have. MRAs primarily are pointing out issues where men have problems in our society, where our society treats men as disposable, and more importantly, teaches men that we must be aggressive and dominant or we are failures as men. Okay, and it is not possible for all men to dominate. Only a small number of them will succeed. And a consequence of this culture of dominance is that a huge percentage of men fail and are told that their failure is their own fault. And this causes issues. I mean, you have no recourse at all. And if you're not a dominating man, if you don't like dominating people, if you are incapable of dominating people, then you are immediately marginalized at a very young age, and it goes badly from there. Non-dominant males have a virtually zero chance of, okay, it's not that bad, have a very poor chance of attracting a mate. Dominant males have an excellent chance of attracting mate after mate after mate, which they horribly abuse and dominate, because they're dominant people. They like to dominate. And this is socially is reinforced by the fact that our business system is set up in such a way that only dominant people can succeed. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes and step on whoever gets in your way in order to have great success in the business arena. And this is true in so many aspects of life for men. You don't have an option. You must be this dominating type or you will be a failure. In love and in life. So, this is the culture that chews men up and spits them out and causes men to have suicide rates that dramatically exceed women's. Men to have violent victimization rates that dramatically exceed women's. There's only one kind of violent victimization for which women exceed men, and that is rape. And when you take violent victimization in total, men are dramatically more likely to be victimized than women. And those victims, who are men, are very likely to then be marginalized for having allowed themselves to be victimized. They're expected to take care of themselves, and if they can't, they're worthless. Okay, this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a system that is in place that lauds all these things. And then as women, you work very hard to try and achieve equality by demonizing all men as feminists. As feminists, and not as women, I suppose, in general, but as feminists. You demonize all men, and you talk about the patriarchy, and you deal with any man who questions your dogma as though they want to oppress you. These issues of our society surrounding the way we socialize our men is something you have to deal with. Because if you don't deal with it, if you continue to perpetuate it by making sure that the female approval goes only to dominant men, and that men who do not dominate others are marginalized, you're never going to make the progress that you want. So my point is that rather than looking at these MRAs as enemies somehow, because they question your dogma, you should be looking at them as your potentially best allies, because you both see the same system as broken for many of the same reasons, and many of the same solutions would apply. But you are absolutely unwilling to work with them. Why? I'm not sure I understand that part. I mean, I understand men. I don't really understand women. I try. But there's only so far I can go. But I think it's really obvious to me that you guys don't understand, or you girls don't understand men any more than we understand women. And to go around telling us that we're all bad people for questioning what you say when it doesn't make any sense to us isn't getting you anywhere. Well, that's about enough for today.